Migrations. For several years, the first week in September meant a long car ride south down the interstate in a van loaded with bedding, a laptop, a new suitcase, and a child who wouldn't be returning until Thanksgiving. Across the median strip, other vans and cars with rooftop carriers would be streaming north, all part of a great seasonal migration between home and campus. At rest stops and fast food joints, I'd recognize the parents of other college-bound teenagers by their grim cheerfulness and air of preoccupation. They'd look at their wristwatches, check tie-downs, steal glances at the departing child. Behind the brave smiles, they shared a single worry. What if my son or daughter returns in a few months, aloof and estranged, to sit, as one writer put it, like an anthropologist at the kitchen table? Well, I never lost sleep over this question for two reasons. First, I teach at a university and understand that higher education is meant to make the familiar seem strange in the same way that travel does. Second reason, that there was always another child waiting at the kitchen table when we got home. This time is different because we're dropping off our last child, and the house we'll return to won't be empty exactly, but awfully, awfully quiet, and that will be strange indeed. In previous Septembers, the road to college followed I-94 to Madison, the countryside whipping past at 65 miles per hour. This time, we're driving to UW-La Crosse on a two-lane through the Driftless area, a slow road that winds through hills and coulee towns with old brick facades. When the kids were little, we made frequent forays from home on roads just like this one, meandering trips to cranberry marshes at harvest time, or limestone caverns in the summer dog days, or tours of old lead mines or historic sites led by elderly docents who seemed to be recalling their own childhoods. There were visits to art museums and county fairs and powwows where the whole sky throbbed with drum beats, excursions to dry dock submarines and petting zoos and weird concrete sculptures made of seashells and tie rods and old beer bottles. We consider all these trips educational in the sense they were intended to provoke a sense of wonder as well as belonging, as if to assure the children, what an interesting place you live. During his college career, my son will doubtless encounter some version of Professor Marvel. If you remember Professor Marvel, he never guesses, he knows. The sort of academic so keen to defamiliarize students from their own experience that they end up believing the wide world begins in some distant place, like New York or London, or wherever it was that Professor Marvel went to graduate school. It's fine to want students to be at home in the world, but first they have to feel at home. I remember another, much shorter journey on my son's first day of formal education. The 3-block walk from home to preschool took forever that morning, not because the boy was apprehensive except about the looming prospect of nap time, but because he was so absorbed by everything along the way. Every few steps he'd stoop to examine some new wonder, a fallen leaf, cracks in the sidewalk, a line of ants on the march, as if everything was worthy of attention. I'm afraid I played the role of Professor Marvel that day, dragging the little fellow by the arm, hurrying him along so we'd get there on time. "We're here," I announced at the school door, and left him to face the alphabet and nap time alone. Now our positions are reversed. Fixed on the future, that cloud land of possibility, he's eager to get to the dorm on time, while I wish our ride could go on forever. When we get there, things will be rushed and awkward, and I'll forget what I want to tell him. which is this: trust your own instincts. What feels worthwhile and true now shouldn't change overnight. And if home seems a little strange come Thanksgiving, it's because you never had to think of home as an idea before, as a choice. And now you do. But that's okay. Take your time. We're not going anywhere.